Welcome back to Reconnects podcast. I'm your sister from another mister, but from the same great mother, okay? Charlee Queen XO here. I'm just really enjoying this little setup and vibe I got going on here. I figured, I wanted something a little bit more intimate, a little bit more chill, a little bit more vibey, because that's the truth of me. Your girl likes to chill, likes to vibe, likes to dance. So I felt like I was kind of going about this a little more how I see others do it as opposed to how I want to do it. And then I just remembered, do me. Do me, and the people who love me will appreciate it. So bless up. Here we go. If you're watching this, you're like, okay, I got my incense. Oh, I haven't lit my incense or my candle. Let me do that right now. Hold up. Okay, good. Now we chilling. It's a couple of weeks ago that I was recording another podcast episode, and I had this old setup, bright light, everything of what it seems like I was supposed to do. And I had this concept idea of going through 36 teachings, pieces of wisdom, lessons that I have acquired since I've made 36 cycles around the sun. I was really vibing the idea, drafted a few things out. I was like, okay, we're recording today, but I also have a show. So I was fully dressed up. I'm like, okay, let's do this podcast. I was a little bit late in getting it started. When you have that rush energy, everything just feels that much more rushed. It takes a hot minute to get through 36 pieces of insight. I couldn't even put a story to every one of them because I'm like, I don't want to be going on for that long. I did it, ran out of here, went to my show, the theme of Moulin Rouge, and it was fabulous. It was absolutely wonderful. But afterwards, I was just just reflecting on how I felt while recording that. I felt rushed, and I am in this era of my life where I am truly, truly acknowledging the power of the divine feminine as it flows through me and as it flows around me. And my intention is to honor that divine feminine energy. Of course, we always have to tap into the masculine because we have to tap into the masculine to get anything done. That's just how that energy works, right? But when I'm frantic in my energy, I had made a vow to myself long ago, a piece of insight that I definitely received from the goddess energy was any time that you feel the anxiety or the anxiousness of going fast, then double down on the slowdown. As I reflected on how that episode felt and how rushed it felt, and it's feeling hot, I was feeling because there was so much lights on me, all the things, I was like, okay, that doesn't feel like me in my power. And if I feel this anxiety of rushing to get something done, let me double down on the slowdown so I can really feel what is desiring to emerge. So I did. So the double down meant I was like, okay, instead of all in one episode, they're each going to be an episode. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can get all 36 done right before the end of the year. That was feeling a little anxious. So then I'm like, okay, double down on the slowdown. Let's just focus on each episode coming out organically and truly feeling good in my body, because then that means we're tapping in, we're dialing into the energy that we're meant to be in. And as a matter of fact, as I'm feeling that cue right now, I invite for you to drop in for a minute. Here in Verse Connect, it's about truly connecting to what is inside, that God, goddess essence that is within, and letting it guide you, connecting to that. A bit of tuning out of all that outside noise. Drop into your body for a moment. Close the eyes. Take a big breath in. And let it go. Relax your shoulders. Soften your jaw. Relax your eyelids, your eyebrows. And just feel your body here. Just breathe your body. Trust that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, right here, right now. And as you settle into your body, maybe you decide it feels nice to lengthen up through the spine, to take some circular motions in your head and neck. As you breathe, circling through your shoulders, letting that tension release. I know how easy it is to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, but we're going to let that relax. I always like to take those circular motions down into the pelvic space, into the hips, and just move that around. One direction and then the other. And just inhale, big breath into the belly. Out the mouth. All right, now we're here. We're in it. Sharing insights, wisdoms, reflections, meditations. Going with the theme of what caused me to redo this podcast episode into a series, like 36 nuggets of wisdom. I don't know if that's what I'm going to call it, but that's what I'm saying now. So, and that first little part of it, double down to slow down, because the first thing that I deeply desire to share, that is really one of the guiding principles of my life and of lives of those who I truly admire most. Intuition over opinion. Intuition truly is the compass. It is remarkable. Like Florence Scovel Shinn in one of her books. I love Florence Scovel Shinn. Big ups. It's helped me so much. Okay. I think she has a book called The Magic Path of Intuition, actually, now that I think about it. Magic Path of Intuition. So where she actually says, like, prayer is you telephoning to God, and intuition is God telephoning to you. And it goes so well. I'm not a religious person, but I did grow up as a Jehovah's Witness. So your girl studied that Bible a lot. And then I had to go door to door and talk to people about it. Maybe it's why I'm so comfortable, like talking about spirituality, divine wisdom, and things like that. Maybe it's just, of course, we were meant to be born into whichever family we were born into, because we actually chose them for whatever our soul truly needed. This idea that the kingdom of heaven is within you truly makes sense as we start to understand the power of our own intuition. Logic, of course, can be useful. The function of the mind is a useful thing, but when the mind is the one that takes the lead, that's when you get into so many trip ups, and you have to, logic has to calculate, it has to weigh the pros and the cons, and you can never really truly know if it's the right answer. But with intuition, it truly lives inside our bodies. While logic calculates, intuition knows. Your inner voice is truly the echo of divine guidance. And something I will always tell my students as a yoga teacher, taught yoga for many years, since 2012. Wow. I always find our bodies to be fascinating. Life in and of itself to be so fascinating. We're a 1 in 400 trillion odd of existence, every single person on this planet. What? When you're in the womb, and now having had a child, got to experience this. When you're in the womb, your heart is the first thing that's created. That's the first thing they look for, right? They're listening for a heartbeat. I remember getting to hear my baby girl's heartbeat for the first time. So your heart is the first thing that is created inside the womb, and then from your heart creates everything else. But like, your heart has all of this wisdom from the ancestors encoded into the DNA, everything. It carries all of that wisdom, and through that wisdom, through that divine intelligence, it then creates the rest of you, the rest of your physical body, that then continues to grow, continues to change. My goodness, when I look at my baby girl Aaliyah, from the moment she came out of me, and man, was that a glorious moment, because I also chose to not find out the gender. That moment she came out of me, and it's a girl, and I'm like, oh my God, and she's on my chest, and I'm looking at this divine little being that grew from the tiniest little seed. an egg to a full baby who's continues to grow every single day. You think like, wow. And she doesn't orchestrate it. I don't orchestrate that. There is a divine intelligence working and orchestrating everything. So something I always used to remind my students of was this idea that like the divine intelligence that created you has not left you. It continues to flow through you and ensures that you get to continue to grow, to expand, to integrate the information from that which is around you and that which has moved through you, and expand who it is that you are and how you get to show up. And so when I reflect on the concept of, the kingdom of heaven is within us, it truly anchors in the knowingness that God, Allah, whatever you want to call it, source, consciousness, the universe, it is truly within us, around us. It is everything. And we are fully the embodiment of Creator. While society, and we put this label society, like what does that even mean? I don't know. You get what I'm saying when I say society. It teaches us to outsource our sense of wisdom. It continuously makes us feel a sense of disconnection. And that disconnection, I feel, have experienced, have witnessed, is the source of the most tragic sort of pain, the most desperate sense of self. It doesn't actually connect us to our true selves. It's like this little self that constantly feels like we're not enough, constantly feels like in order to make a single decision, we have to ask so many people. Do not get me wrong. I absolutely love having a network. I absolutely love having community. Bless up to my community. I love you. You are my community right now. You are. Thank you for being here. And I'm sharing with you these pieces of wisdom. And at the same time, truly, the best way to understand or to integrate what it is that we receive is to trust that whatever needs to resonate will resonate. Whatever might need to be integrated later will be integrated later. All of that entire process doesn't happen from our own mind controlling. It is not orchestrated by our human selves. It is orchestrated by our higher selves. It is orchestrated by the parts of us that is most expansive, that is all knowing, all seeing. That is God in and of itself. That is what orchestrates our spiritual evolution, our lives if we let it. And the way that we let it is actually by tuning into our intuition, trusting our intuition. And the more often that we trust our intuition, just even in the smallest of ways, we build this sense of self-trust. And when we have a pattern of trusting ourselves, we actually build a deep level of self-esteem, rock solid self-esteem, which allows for us to show up in our lives confidently. Even if we're not the smartest, the most beautiful, the most talented, or the most skilled in the space, because we have created this path of trusting ourselves, because we're not just taking the opinions and the logical calculations of the little self, but truly tuned in, connected, deeply connected to that, God within, and listen to our intuition. Nothing can sway us without our permission. I know that as I'm saying all of this, I'm like, oh yeah, great, Char, but how do I actually know what is my intuition and know what's just fear talking? And you'll know it based on how it feels. Intuition, honey, it feels clear. It feels calm. It feels rooted. Intuition speaks softly, but consistently. Fear likes to shout, and fear likes to wreak havoc on your system, while love whispers. And she stays calm, steady, baby. Take your time with it. I have to continuously take my time with it. Sometimes you go on a streak, you're feeling so good, you listen to yourself constantly. It is amazing. You're like, yo, I am in flow. And then sometimes you enter into a relationship, let's say, and forgot the power of listening to yourself. because you wanted to create space or create room for this other person. And you thought that the best way to create room for them is to now outsource things that you used to be soul sourced before. I say this from experience, as Aaliyah's father and I are going through a process of co-parenting. I'm realizing how many times I had outsourced something I should have just intuitively known, that I did intuitively know, but decided to cater to. And it's to no one's fault. It's just old habits, right? But that's the beauty of taking time to pause and to reflect and to double down on the slow down when you feel the sense of anxiousness to rush to the next thing or to just fly through something. It's like, okay, we're going to break up. That means I need to edit it. I'm like, ooh, let me slow down here. Let me really feel what's happening. What has this shown me? And what is it that I can now integrate in a way that strengthens my connection to myself and allows for me to truly show up authentically in the next relationship? But first, that relationship with myself. Wagwan. How am I showing up, baby? How you doing? So it's been a journey. That's actually what really spurred on the creation of this podcast. Because y'all, we're growing through it. And I'm your sister here growing through it with you. Okay. At the end of every yoga practice I always pull a card from this amazing deck of cards, Abiola Abrams, the African Goddess Rising Oracle Guidebook. Whether I practice at home or whether I practice at a studio, I have my crystal, I have my ankh, I have my deck of cards. And so I was practicing at the studio, which guided me to record this first piece of insight for you of 36, right? This is now the start of the series, I've decided. 36 teachings, meditations, all the things I want to do. So your girl pulled out Queen Nandi. Let me actually just read it to you, or at least read to you a little section of Wagwan with Queen Nandi. So Queen Nandi was the mother of warrior king Shaka Zulu. His father's royal family first rejected her. They said that she wasn't pregnant and her belly resulted from a Ishaka beetle sting. But Nandi knew her son would be great before he was born. And Queen Nandi's guidance is, you already know. Take a deep breath and surrender to what you know to be true. Trust your inner wisdom and guidance. I love this piece of embodiment that I want to share with you. It says, what is your guidance telling you? Put your hands over your third eye, so the center of your forehead. Let's do it. And ask, if I knew what the answer is, what would it be? Then follow your first instinct. The Creator and your ancestors connect with you through your intuition. Trust your internal GPS. The nudges, signs, and coincidences are divine guidance. And it literally says, slow down, go for a walking meditation, be present with nature, and pay attention. Being present allows you to feel, hear, see, and sense your guidance. And the goddess declaration is, I am knowing. I love that. So needless to say, with Queen Nandi's lovely guidance for us today, remind yourself that you are knowing. Put your hand on your heart and say, I am knowing, and breathe it in. Because you are being guided. You are being so loved and cherished in this moment. And it's worth it. It's worth it to take the time to learn how to trust yourself. I highly encourage for us this week to practice that. Maybe it's a hand over the third eye, maybe rubbing the third eye, breathing into that space, or maybe it's a hand onto your heart and onto your womb, breathing into it. But I invite for us, you and me, honey, I'm right here with you, that anytime we're feeling this like anxiety to move faster, to do it quicker, to give an answer right away, that we gonna double down on the slow down. We gonna breathe. And we're going to allow for the waters to calm so we can clearly see what the answer is. A lovely journal prompt that I'd like to share with you is, what intuitive nudges have I been dismissing? Once you write that down, just commit to one small action that you can do for it this week. Just one small action. Let's build this, right? Just like in a relationship with someone else, we notice those small actions that allow for us to trust the words that they say. Let's do the same for ourselves. So ask yourself, what intuitive nudges have I been dismissing? And what is one small action I can take today or this week to move towards it? All right. So the sun is coming in pretty hard on me, which is my cue that I got to go. I got my girl to pick up right now. We're going to be dancing. We're going to be sewing. I got some performances to prep for. So, but this feels complete. This feels wonderful. This feels authentic from my heart. Drinking my tea. Cheers to you, baby. We done did the damn thing. Share with me. What is something that your heart has been telling you that maybe you've been dismissing? I don't want to say ignoring. You've dismissed it because maybe you've been like, later. So what is it? Let's bring some light to it. Comment, message me. I want to hear. What's your heart been telling you, baby? All right. It's your girl. It's your sister. Charlee Queen XO out.